I'm sure you've all seen the funny posts and the memes circulating around on the internet about now how every child is a homeschooler, what with schools being canceled for the time being. And there's a number of really funny jokes that we tend to make about that. But in all seriousness, this week we're going to be talking about the topic of home churching instead of homeschooling. Just because our church is not meeting does not mean that our obligation to serve and worship God or our relationships with Christ are on hold by any means. Rather, our Christian life should be continuing and growing all the same. When I was in college, I managed to get my hands on an inflatable raft someone was getting rid of. They were getting rid of it because it had a small hole, and I figured, well, that's not the end of the world. I can patch it, and as long as it's a small hole, it'll be fine. Well, I took it down to the French Broad River that ran by my school, and my plan was simple. I was going to paddle out to an island that was out in the river. I would tie off the raft at the island and then sit in the raft and fish downstream. However, things did not go as well as I had hoped. The stream was moving much faster than I thought, and the raft kept collapsing on the inside as I was trying to get to the island. The problem was that I had my phone in my pocket. Now, I knew it was in my pocket, and I had even thought beforehand maybe I should take my phone out, but I just told myself, no, I'll just be really, really careful with it. Long story short, my phone was ruined, and I came out looking like I had gone swimming. Proverbs 4:23 says, "Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it." I've seen this passage interpreted at times to refer to things like protecting your emotional state or being cautious about the relationships you develop. But the reality is that it's teaching us something very different. See, the biblical meaning of heart is really something more like what we would call the mind, or the thing with which we make decisions. And the greater context of this chapter in Proverbs is choosing wisdom in order to avoid wickedness. Now, by doing that, we protect our minds from the corrupting influence of sin. We guard our hearts by choosing wisdom, by avoiding evil. And in doing that, we're better able to judge things accurately, and we're better able to live holy lives. So guarding our heart, then, is not just saying that you'll be really, really careful. I tried that with my phone, and that did not work out. But rather, let me share another example. I went to a youth event here at our church several years back that involved water games for the kids. And you know how kids are, they'll throw water at you as soon as your back is turned just to play around. Well, I was speaking with one of our youth leaders, and I mentioned jokingly to her, you should take your phone out of your pocket. She pulled out her phone and showed me that she had actually already sealed it up in a plastic bag before we ever went out to play in the water with the kids. That was smart. That was proactive. She knew what she was doing, and she had had plenty of experience to teach her. Here's the thing, guarding your heart is being proactive before the point of trial comes. It's not just saying, I'll be really careful when the trial gets here, but it's preparing in advance for it. At times, that may mean things maybe like avoiding people or situations that are likely to pull us into sin, but most often, guarding your heart means filling your heart with the good things of God so that there is no room for evil. It means being nourished on God's truth. It means having your mind focused on God's will. And it means ensuring that your actions are honoring to Him. That's a proactive approach. So let me say one more thing about this passage before we go on to the study and the questions. Look at who it's addressed to. It's to the individual. Guard your heart, your own heart. See, we receive aid in guarding our hearts from a lot of sources. Good sermons and healthy Bible studies and uplifting worship services and so on. But at the end of the day, I am answerable for the condition of my heart. My spiritual life is not someone else's responsibility. And so in light of this passage in Proverbs and a few others that we're going to be looking at, I want us to see how to guard our own hearts and see our own responsibility in making sure that we are in a good spiritual state, but also to take it a step further, to see that whereas I'm responsible for my own spiritual state, I play a role and have an impact, and at times even have obligations in the spiritual lives of others that need to be fulfilled. We're going to see how to do that, and it's all going to be in the context of the home churching.